Hello, everyone. This is Dr. Stock. I'm back and I'm ready to rock. We're going to take a look at NNDM. We're going to take a look at some of the fundamentals, how to plan our trades from now going forward into the next coming years. We'll also take a look at the technicals for any near-term trades that we have and really talk about some of those direct offerings that they've done. So stick around and see what we got for you. All right, so NNDM, they are a leader in 3D printing electronics for their additive manufactured electronics, where they actually use 3D printers, really super precise 3D printers to print circuits rather than using a printed circuit board and the subtractive process that they would use, where they would basically have their substrate, and then they would have a layer of copper on top of that, and then they would use acid etching in order to remove that that top layer, and then they would coat it again to insulate those wire traces, so that way they couldn't be disturbed and cause short circuits. And with the new technology, they can print on those traces, and they can print on those substrates in ways that allow layering to occur and really optimize that space that's used, and really also custom fit. Rather than having just a flat two-dimensional piece, they can make three-dimensional circuit boards, and that's really going to change the way that we see circuit boards being used. Matter of fact, we probably can't even call them circuit boards anymore. We'll be calling them circuit units, or something like that, because it won't be that flat board way of thinking about it anymore. So it really is disruptive to the printed circuit board market, which is valued to be about $60 billion. The additive manufactured electronics, the AME, allows for faster prototyping, increased complexity in design, and it has more optimized form factors. So if you think about it like the Apple Watch that I'm wearing right now, it has a circuit board in it. It's a printed circuit board. It's just a flat piece, and it allows for just the flat form factor of the watch. Imagine making this just a little bit more ergonomic, and it's fitted more to the individual user's wrist, where it breaks that rigidity that we're used to. So those more optimized form factors are going to go a long way in ways that aren't even really realized yet. So right now it's in the development stages, that there's very few people out there that are really trying it. There's a lot of academic activity on developing technology around this, really getting it into the hands of the manufacturers, getting into the hands of industry, getting into the hands of more of the technological users. I think that those are things that are going to carry this forward. The good news about NNDM is they're about 2 years ahead of the competition. As far as the stock price goes, they're still in the early stages of development. So right now they're losing money. And the success, really, that industry transition is just going to be huge, but it could take years. So that's something to be concerned with. It is a speculative play at this point, but it's something that we want to keep in mind. To be an early investor in this is good, but it could take a while for you to really see those gains come off of that, especially those really huge gains that could come from investing with NNDM. So right now there's a lot of capital burn, which is why we keep on seeing a lot of the direct offering capital raises. They've done almost, with the most recent one, December 27th, which would be yesterday, they announced another capital raise, this time $250 million for this direct offering. I believe it's around 30 or 33 million shares, and that's on top of the $440 million in direct offerings they made before, and that's not even including the public offerings. So that keeps on diluting the stock price, but they need that cash in order to do a lot of the research and development. But I really want to talk for a quick minute. What is it going to take to move them forward? In my mind, I see it a lot like Adobe Flash as a software. And what I mean is that Adobe Flash is something that was developed. It had a lot of versatility to it. And it stuck around for a long time, despite the fact that it was a really big resource hog. It used a lot of power. It was kind of clunky, but there were a lot of tools developed around it. And so smartphones came along, and the power usage was just too big. And Apple said, "No, we're not supporting Adobe Flash Player," and that caused a lot of problems with mobile technologies. And in the early days, there was more frustration with that. And in more recent years, as Flash has been phased out, and HTML5, JavaScript, as more tools got developed, to accommodate the fact that Adobe Flash was no longer sustainable, we really saw better tools come into development, and we saw, more of the everyday programmer be able to leverage that and use those tools to better effect to make better products. I think we're going to see the same thing with NNDM going forward, is that they're going to have better technology surrounding better knowledge of how to use this 3D printed circuitry that they're developing. And I really think getting it out to more industry, getting it out to more of the individual users, and I'm getting to that in a moment. I think that those are things that are going to be real catalysts in moving the technology forward into something that's really usable and refined, for the consumer marketplace and also for the industrial marketplace. So as far as getting it out of industry and into the consumer's hands, for developers anyway, I think of it sort of like the Raspberry Pi. The Raspberry Pi allowed for a lot of creativity from a lot of people that didn't have a large amount of investment capital. The Dragonfly 3D printer right now, I believe, has about a $500,000 price tag, and part of their R&D money that they're using in this next year coming up is making a more modular version of that Dragonfly, which hopefully comes with a reduced cost. If they built a really small scale that could get it, that smaller companies could get their hands on it, or even individuals could get their hands on something just really small application wise, to really start to leverage the creativity of people around the world. I really think that you would see a large scale development in a very short amount of time. The innovation that would come from the individuals or from small companies, then obtained by larger businesses, I think it would really make the market on this take off. So they have a lot going for them. I think that they need to do a little bit more on the business end to really get their product out there and to get different people using it and really use more of that creativity, getting contracts from bigger companies to use their hardware and also their patented inks that they have. And for doing this 3D printing, these would all be things that would really help the stock price move up and help them turn around from being a speculative play into a really profitable company, with a really serious stock price, and, would really reduce the risk on the investors. All right, let me share my screen for a moment. I'll show you a little bit of what I'm talking about with the financials. All right, so right here, we're looking at NNDM and Google Finance per quarter since Q3 2019 through Q3 2020. We're coming to the end of Q4 for 2020, so that year will be reported on probably sometime around in February. But take a look at the revenue. We have a decrease in revenue as time goes on, and then we also have a decrease in net income, and that's definitely not what you want to see from a fundamental standpoint for a company. There's not a lot of financials supporting the stock price that we see, but the excitement that we see, ARK Investment and Kathy Woods coming in and saying, this is a huge opportunity. It's a paradigm shift. This is the future for, moving on from the printed circuit boards to this AME technology. She sees a lot of potential in that. I also see a lot of potential in it. But right now in these early stages, especially with all the research and development, the fact that they spent, had a net income, I should say, of over $20 million, a loss of over $20 million in Q3 of 2020. They're spending money on research and development to make products that are going to be marketable to industry, and hopefully that industry then turns it around, gets it out to the consumers, and then we really start to see that revenue come in, and we start to see that net income go positive. So when they become a profitable company, which in my mind could be anywhere from 2 to 3 years off, just to even get the wheels churning on this thing, we need to see somebody come out with some technology that really, leverages this 3D printing technology that NNDM offers us. All right, let's switch over to the technical side of things, take a look at the chart and see what's happening, especially today in light of that most recent direct offering. All right, so here we're looking at the Webull desktop, and you can see, let me expand this a little bit. Here's the daily chart that we have. Here's this bar forming after the direct offering announcement that they made yesterday, Sunday, December 27th. This is today, Monday, December 28th. And if you look at the bottom of this candlestick right here, ending around $8, $7.98 or so, it looks like the low right now is being reported at $8. If we jump over to this candlestick back here, the high that we had on this one was $7.97. So that's not a coincidence. So if we put on the moving average, I like to use the 5-period moving average. So when we look at that, we can see it acting as a level of support and then crossing over here into resistance, and then moving forward into a more relevant time frame. Now we can see that support coming up, resist, back into support, and then here we are back down below this line of resistance. And right now that candlestick is topping out at about $8.62 is the reported high that we have for the day. So what do I expect in the days to come? Well, this support line, it does seem to be rounding off just a little bit. So if it drops a little in the upcoming day, as we don't really see any positive news coming out of NNDM, we could see it continuing to be resistance for the stock. The Bollinger Bands are just going to be crazy on this one. If we take a look at the Bollinger Bands back here, all the way back in September was the last time that we really had consolidation on this stock. The trend that we have, let me put up the EMA for this. I do like the EMA 100. Let me switch out to the EMA 200. All right, so I switched out to the EMA 200 so we can see this this flat consolidating behavior, and as we move along, it's starting to move into more of a bullish territory, and we stay above that. So right now, the behavior of NNDM is still bullish, despite the fact that sometimes we drop below this midline here. But we have these really wide gaps of the Bollinger Bands, and we keep on hitting, even up here, peaking above those 2 standard deviations above the mean. Up here, you can see that as well. We probably had a little bit of a high price. I know for myself, as an investor in this company, I do hold a position in this company. When I saw this price come up to 10.49, I did sell out right around the $10.30 range. I hold on to the other half of my shares, holding on to my position as pure profit at this point in time. So this minor narrowing that we see, we might see it come back together just a little bit, hopefully calm down some of this volatility and give us a good entry point. Getting rid of the Bollinger Bands and looking at the MACD with the RSI, we can see in here that we had that crossover into more of a bullish territory in these past few days, and that curve is coming back down, putting us back down into more of a bearish trend. That bearish trend, it might not hold out. We don't have a lot of evidence from the 200 EMA that this is a really strong upward moving stock. I think that we're likely going to see some consolidation coming up ahead while we wait for more news coming out of NNDM. Let me drop down to the 1-hour chart for a little bit of the look at the intraday. All right, so here we are looking at the 1-hour chart for a little bit of the intraday, which isn't very formed at this point in time. Look at that volume spike that we have where the bulls came in and really protected that bottom line of about $8, and it's pushed up since then back up to about the 850 territory, but the volume has dropped off for us. So that bearish signal that we got coming from the MACD and the RSI, the fact that this has dropped below 50 says that this stock has now turned bearish. And then we also see that drop coming down in here with the histogram that we have on the MACD. Likely there'll be another crossover, but it might be hours, say, before this thing really settles. And I don't see the price action moving a lot higher at this point in time. So what do I see for this stock going forward? Well, if you're looking for a buying price, I would wait for this bullish period in the histogram to come back up. I would wait for this line on the RSI to cross back up over 50. I would also look to come off this low here up to a higher low somewhere over here at this point in time to really catch that windfall. So as far as playing or buying into this stock, if you're looking for a long position, I would use it as a swing trade. As far as a long-term investor, you can buy this stock now. You're likely getting it for cheap. This company has a lot of potential. I'm sure that it can really jump in stock price over the next few years, but it is really sitting your money in and waiting for the technology to mature. So the position that I have in here is now a long-term position. I already sold out my shares in this for short-term plays. If I see a lot more volatility, where I see some divergence between what I see in the RSI and what I see in the charts, I might take advantage of that, going with the trend, of course, that if we have a bullish trend, I'll put my money along with that trend and the divergence to buy back in at a good point. Like if this shows oversold and we have a low point up here, then with the bullish pattern, of course, then I would buy back in, and let that, ride the wave upward. And if the EMA should happen to move into more of a bearish trend, and then I saw a price spike, I might go ahead and take a bearish position on that, where I would go short on the stock and wait for it to drop. All right, so that's what I have for today for NNDM. If you like this video, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit that notification bell, so that way you can see my videos the moment that they come out. My name is Dr. Stock, and I wish you health, I wish you wealth, I wish you all the money in the world. Have a great day.